evening, Film Independent. Thank you so much for attending this really special screening of Left-Handed Girl. My name is Rebecca Sun, and I have the pleasure of doing this post-screening Q&A with a pretty full panel, so I'm going to go ahead and bring them up. First up, we have producer, co-writer, and editor Sean Baker. Then we have one of the stars who played Yi-An's Shih-Ching Ma. Herself, Shih-Ching Tsou. And finally, co-writer, producer, and our director, Shih-Ching Tsou. We also have an interpreter because my Mandarin is about 7-year-old's level, just in case. I'll start with Shih-Ching and Sean. You know, I think this might seem, you know, like this is just the latest output from your collective of filmmakers. You know, you guys have done so many projects together, but I think this actually might be the project with the longest gestation period of all the films that you've made. Even earlier than your first collaboration, the movie you co-directed, Takeout, which was in 2004, which for those who are counting was 21 years ago. Yeah. Can you guys talk a little bit about that very long development phase that started with the two of you as classmates?
Yes, we actually, this story actually stemmed from a long time memory from high school. When I was in high school, my grandfather saw me use knife with my left hand, and he scolded me. He said, "Left hand is devil's hand. You should not use it." So that's, you know, I remember that for the longest time. But you know, when he corrected me, I wasn't even left-handed. I already corrected as right-handed when I was very, very young. So holding knife with my left hand, my body remembers it. You know, like holding mic with my left hand. So, you know, so what I remember the longest time was that sense of guilt. I felt like I did something wrong, but I didn't understand. So when I went to New York after I graduated from college, was studying media studies master degree in news school, and I was taking the editing class, and I ran into Sean. He also went back to news school. He already graduated from Tisch, so he went back to learn digital editing. So that's how we met, and we bonded through love the same type of cinema. You know, we love Dogma 95 films. We love all the reels and like Mike Lee's film, and also Asian cinema. So we bonded through that, and we thought maybe we should make something together. So I told Sean about that, the story my grandfather told me, and he thought that sounds like a magical idea. We should try to expand into a story. So that's how everything started. We went back to Taiwan in 2001 and shot our very first visual, like a trailer. And you know, then we tried to make the movie, but it was we couldn't get funding at the time. So we went back to New York and made Takeout instead. So that's how we started this whole journey.
And then, go ahead, Sean.
I know.
Well, why don't you talk about the trip? So 2001, you shot the first visual trailer. Then you guys did another trip around 2010, where you both stayed in Taiwan for about a month, and that was where the first draft of the full screenplay came about.
Yeah, you got it. Up to that point, we had treatments that we were shopping around, and we shot 2 proof of concept teasers, essentially. Yeah, it was a very long journey because it was very hard to find financing for this film, being that it was a foreign language film, and it was obviously a bigger movie than something we could just get financing for at the time. You know, a big ensemble cast overseas. And it was Red Rocket actually at Cannes, when Red Rocket went to Cannes in main comp, that's when people got interested. And, but I have to say, there's a champion of the film here in the room, Angela Lee, who has been for a very long time. And then we did Fast Track in 2011, actually. Yeah, so, but I'm just so happy and proud that this film is out in the world. You know, this is Shih-Ching's vision, and I'm just here to help her and service her vision. And I couldn't be more impressed. I always knew, I knew that Shih-Ching could direct to this quality 20 years ago, but I'm so happy the world is finally seeing that.
Well, I think that, you know, if one believes in destiny and that sort of thing, one fact is if this movie had come out 20 years ago, or more years ago, your leads would not be born.
Yeah.
You know, so it needed to happen now. So let's talk about casting, and maybe I'll direct this question first to Shih-Yuan and Nina. You know, can you guys tell me, how were you found? You know, how did this project first come to you, and what did you think about it when it was described?
Hello, okay. I think I was found by director Shih-Ching. And how did you find me?
Nina actually recommended by an agent of actor in Taiwan. And at the time, Nina was she's a big commercial star. You know, she already acting in commercial for 3 years. So you turn on TV at the time, you see her every 2 minutes. You know, she's in every other commercial. And then when I finally met with her and saw her audition tape, you know, she was so natural with her performance. And also, when she came on set, she's professional. She knows exactly what to do in front of camera and off the camera. You know, she's always patiently sitting there waiting. So it was wonderful finding Nina.
Go ahead.
Hi. Shih-Ching found me on the, I would say this was totally unexpected. Because Shih-Ching found me on the Instagram. And at first, I thought she was a fake account. Yeah, because it's just not like the regular audition process, you know. And when we just, at the time, I just want to give it a try working on myself. So we just went out to grab coffee, and after that, I sent the self-tag to her. Surprisingly, I just got auditioned. And I feel really grateful and thankful to be a part of that kind of team, because everyone is just really friendly to me, to a new one. So yeah, that's how I feel.
I mean, I think that with these two filmmakers, and I mean, there's a record of, with like Florida Project, again, a similar dynamic of just finding young talent, and being able to work with young actors, and finding people in unexpected places. Another hallmark of independent filmmaking is, you know, just using organic locations, and you guys are really no stranger to found locations. Tell me though, is there an added level of difference when you're talking about found locations in a different country? When you're talking about found location being a Taiwanese night market that you have not shut down in order to film, can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's you know, from the very beginning of even before making the film, I knew we knew we wanted to shoot in a real night market. So when I went back to Taiwan, talked to a couple of producers about, you know, shooting and finding crew, and all of them told me there's no way you can shoot in a real night market. You would have to build your night market and hire all the extras walking around. So immediately I knew I need to, you know, I had to do it on my own way. So, you know, I basically went there in a pre-production and just kind of walking around in the night market, because I already knew those people since 2010 when we went there to write a script. So I visited them constantly, and so, you know, for that whole month I was trying to find this noodle stand, and I found this perfect one in the corner, so you can shoot. It won't be in the center of the, you know, night market with too many people. So I found this place, and they run business 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. So So I said, it's perfect. Then, when they close out, we can continue using until like midnight. So I talked to the owner, and then he wouldn't, rent us the stand. So I decided to just go there. I went there for like, probably purely like 2 months. I went there and sit down right next to him every day and just kind of talking to him and making friends, I want to gain his trust. I also promise him I will not interrupt your business, don't worry. Maybe you will get a lot of business after we make the film. And then guess what happened when we released, theatrical release in October 31st in Taiwan? He decided to go on vacation for 4 months.
Shut it down.
He's so scared for people to go to see his thing. So, in order to shoot the real night market, we also use an iPhone because we need to hide the crew, and also I had a camera in order to capture that real night market life.
Yeah, and you really had to minimize even the number of crew to just as skeleton as possible, because people were, if they knew that you were shooting, they would interfere with the production.
Right. The first day we were in there, and 20 people was, after we set up, and they all go across the street wait. So you see that whole bunch, like 20 people wear black t-shirt, they immediately knew we were shooting the film. So the first day we couldn't shoot because everybody was shooting us. Like they're waiting to see who's coming to the set. So the second day I decided to, ask everybody to, nobody can wear a black shirt, and you have to dress out like you're going to night market. And so we have around 5 to 6 people on set every day, and rest of the people just wait in the office. So in that way we're able to shoot in the stand, and with there's nobody actually looking at us. And in the end, I think we got real customer came to the stand to order noodle with us.
That's how you really did it right. One of the core relationships of this film is the relationship between, and I can't even say the 2 sisters, I'll just say Yan and Jean, And so if you guys can tell me about, because it's not really like a warm and friendly relationship in the beginning of the movie. So how did the director help you to develop that dynamic, and how did you guys, what was your relationship like on set in order to achieve that on screen?
I think the first we met is in a cafe, and we ate pastas and some food together. And when we finish it, we go to the park and we play together and we talk together. And then I remember we didn't met until the day 1, and working with Megan it's very fun and wonderful, and it's very comfortable. And I think when we are not like filming, we have a connection, and we are like friends, and we get along very well. Yeah.
Shih-Yuan, how was it for you? Because clearly Nina is just adorable. You have to love her, but your character has to be sort of mean to her for much of the movie. How was that for you, especially as a first-time actor?
I think for me to get him into this character is all about understanding her every little emotions or decisions, like understanding what she had gone through that made her who she is now. Yeah, and also Shih-Ching director helps me a lot. She let me experience Ian's life, like we wrap the beetle nuts, right?
Yeah.
Beetle nuts.
Yeah.
Wrap the beetle nuts at a real beetle nut stand, or we choosing her phone cast together, or really spend a lot of time with my little sister. That little moment just really let me believe truly I was her. So yeah, once I connect with her, I think I just let myself, go go with the flow and be present in the sense. It's hard, but I think it's a really good experience.
Yeah, and when you have a good director who's kind of, guiding you that way. I want to talk a little bit now about this story because as somebody whose family is from Taiwan, I recognize it as being so culturally Taiwanese. At the same time, I'm so interested in your guys' working relationship as writers, and maybe both of you, but I'm curious because I asked you this at a previous panel, Shih-Ching, so maybe I'll ask Sean. Sean, you're somebody who, you have Chinese American, you have Asian American people in your family, but are you?
Well, yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm married.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I meant. And so, as you guys were breaking the story, were you able to identify which elements were like, oh wow, this is really specific to Taiwanese families or Taiwanese culture, and oh, this is actually something that's pretty universal. I'm not able to distinguish because I don't know. It's just part of my own upbringing.
Well, I think the way that Shih-Ching and I have approached almost all the films is that we know that there are going to be cultural specificities, and they're very important to have there because that's what makes it unique. But we also are tackling universal themes. So in this case, yes, it was everything that Shih-Ching presented me, and when I went to Taiwan for the first time, I absolutely fell in love with the city of Taipei. It's so incredibly cinematic, and I was seeing things sort of like through the eyes of a child in many ways. I was fresh eyes to a very beautiful, chaotic city. These night markets spoke to me in terms of just it just being such an incredible location that I thought we both thought the night market has to become a character in the film. The beetle nut stand, very culturally specific to Taiwan. The wonderful karaoke rooms and banquet halls. And we wanted to tap, and also the stuff that was going on in the news, like the stuff that the grandmother is doing. This is all stuff that we wanted to definitely have in there, but at the same time, ultimately, it's about a dysfunctional family, and it's about family dynamics and secrets and lies, and those are things that hopefully everybody around the world can identify with and connect to. So my job was basically to with Shih-Ching's to construct this narrative around all these cultural specificities, but at the same time also make sure that we never lose sight of making this a universal story.
I think speaking of secrets and lies, I'm gonna take advantage of this holy pulpit to ask a question that was really burning in my mind when I watched the film, and so it's about the revelation scene of the truth, and it's something that I remember I was debating it with my mother because we watched it together. So I'll ask this to Shih-Yuan. What for you as an actor? What was the motivation for Yi-An telling the truth at that party and doing that? Because I was surprised because my mom asked me, she's like, why do you think she did that? I was like, oh, revenge, but my mom's like, no, I think she did it to set the whole family free. But I was like, I don't know, Mom. What do you think?
I'm going to use in Mandarin at this question, to express clearly.
Yeah.
我觉得对怡安来说，那场戏是一场他终于为自己发声，而且我觉得不只是为他自己发声，也是为整个家庭发生的一场很重要的戏。大家都藏着一些，就是可能生而为人本来就会很难说出口的一些感受也好，累积很久的感受，累积很久的积怨，甚至是累积很久的爱没有被说出口，而造成的误会还有矛盾。然后我觉得所以怡安他其实是一个很勇敢的角色，对我来说。然后动机的话，我觉得他就只是觉得受够了，就是大家都不要再装了，我们来诚实的面对我们所有的情绪还有问题，只是可能用了一个不是那么温柔的方式，因为他也累积了很多的情绪在身上，所以才会爆发出来。可是我觉得， 对于整个家庭，还有对于他自己来说是很有必要的。
So my mom was right, but I'll let the translator go first.
So for the character Yi-An, this scene is where she finally had the opportunity to just have this release for herself and also for the whole family. Just everything they have been storing inside, the emotions and resentments and loves and expressions that have been just accumulating inside that's causing conflict and misunderstanding, they can finally be released. And Yi-An is a very courageous character, and in the scene, her motivation is as simply as she's had enough. These things need to be said, and that's why it was such an explosive scene for her.
I have to cut this, okay? I'm so sorry. Thank you guys so much for your time. I'm going to ask you guys to please stay seated because our panelists have to get to their next event. But if you're burning with something, then just tag them on Insta. You know, you can find them there. But thank you guys so much.
Thank you.